All right. As the new agents are joining us, I can always let them in, but we are on time. It's around 10:02. Thank you, John, for joining us for another amazing session of coaching. A lot of agents are not only joining us now, but later on, they're going to be on YouTube and they're going to watch your coaching. So John was with us, when was it, John? Almost 2 months
Jeez.
ago?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it seems a lot longer.
I know, time flies.
Time
But
flies.
appreciate you accepting our invitation to join us back here and tell us what you have. Consider some of these agents new. So tell us briefly your background, how long you are coaching agents, and
Yeah.
take it from there.
Yeah. No, thank you for having me back. And man, just 20 years this month in the real estate space. I got connected with Jay Kinder in beginning of October of 2004. And it was crazy, all of us in a small town, and I knew him, but I had never actually met him. And we're talking a county of only 100,000 people, but you couldn't go anywhere without like billboards, radio, signs, just everything, right? And so it was really bizarre that we had never, actually met. We might have crossed paths, you just can't help it being in such a small town. And but I felt like I had really already had a relationship with them. And so that was just really, kind of my first experience coming into the real estate space of, just how important, branding and marketing and consistency with the branding and marketing really is. And, um, I walked into an already successful, by standard, successful organization. That year in 2004, ended up closing out, 340 transactions in a market that only does about 3,000 transactions. So already, at a 10% market share. And, I always liken it to that is like a go fast boat motor on the back of a rowboat was kind of what was going on, right? The train was really about to come off the tracks. And it was just a lack of systems and a lack of process, a lack of organizational structure. And that's really what I walked into. And that's what Kinder brought me in to really, tighten up the ship from an operational standpoint. And went on in January of '05 to get licensed. So I've been licensed since, in January will be 20 years. And we rock and rolled, moved up the ladder. We were at Caldwell Banker, ended up being number two in the world for Caldwell Banker. And in 2006, we did 530 something transactions in that market, had over 20% market share. And, the thing that I always see and tell, agents building teams that have a desire to escape production at some point is that they're moving on to something else, or another opportunity opens. And so at this point, the connector that connected me with Kinder in 2004 was a gentleman by the name of Michael Reese. And Michael and I go back to junior high school days together. We were first roommates in college. And, he went south to Texas. We're in a small town, Lawton, Oklahoma. He went south to Texas. I went west to California. And, I ended up coming back to Lawton about 4 years later and working for some serial entrepreneurs. And that's what I was doing at the time in 2004. Just a bad situation. We had, going into 2004, we had, flipped and sold 4 different businesses. And so we were without a job, and we thought it'd be a good idea going into 2004 to get into the bar business. And not healthy to be in the bar business when you have a newborn and a 1-year-old and a newborn on the way. And so that's what led me down the path of leaving, childhood, best friends and guys we'd been, building and working together for a lot of our lives. And so Michael was that connector, but to the point of, escaping production, you're moving on to other opportunities. But when you get to the level of success where you have, double digit percentage of market share, a lot of doors open. That's why, the natural progression is to take in, ownership of other entities, have a piece of title, have strong attorney relationships, own piece of mortgage. You get into the construction space, you can do the general contracting space. Those are all things that you can really start to tap into. Well, Jay and Michael were going down the coaching path, and that's where it led to Kinder Reese coaching. And so, for me, what the 2011 2012 timeframe, they had just created their high level mastermind program. So what happens in the coaching space is that if you don't have places for your clientele to step up to, they're going to go find that space. So they created a mastermind, and it ended up being really probably one of the best masterminds on the planet, just not even including real estate, but just the dynamic of how it was an experience. We went to locations. We went just where we wanted to go, right? We went to Aspen several times just because we wanted to go to the X Games. We went to, Cincinnati because we wanted to go to the Kentucky Derby. We went to St. Thomas because we wanted to go to St. Thomas, right? So we just did those excursions and those experience and created this mastermind level. And at the time, you had to be doing 1 million in production. And, back then, getting to 1 million in production was a big deal. And now, you see teams, 1,000 transactions plus, that's kind of the next progression. But at the time in 2011, 2012, it was 1 million in production. And so they formed the mastermind group, and I was still in Lawton at the time, running the brokerage, head of company. Jay was gone. He was living in Dallas. And so, we wrapped up our first mastermind, and Jay said, "Hey man, we need a coach. Do you want to coach these, do you want to coach these individuals?" And I was like, "Of course." They call me every day anyways, right? Cause I'm in the mix, I'm in the fight, and, running the brokerage. We're testing everything that they're utilizing in the coaching program. And so I've already have great relationships with all these people. And he's like, "Do you want to coach them?" I was like, "Of course." And so that started the coaching side of things for me, Ashton, in February of 2012. And, you fast forward to where we're at today, over 17,000 one-on-one coaching calls, about 9,500 coaching hours, actual hours. And, we went on to open up the brokerage in DFW before we made the move to EXP in 2017. And what I always tell people from a coaching dynamic is that I have a unique perspective that a lot of other coaches can't bring to the table. Owning and operating a brokerage in a small town, Lawton, Oklahoma. At the time, our average sales price was 120,000. To then, the brokerage in DFW, our average sales price at that time was about 280. I think the average sales price in the market there, kind of where we're focused now, is north of 500. So you can tell, it was an emerging kind of blowing up market, to where we were focused. But, then you bring the coaching dynamic. So owning and operating in two different markets, and then being able to coach, you know, agents all across North America, you know, over 17,000 conversations. So I tell you that there's not a situation that I haven't encountered either personally or through a coaching dynamic. So just have a different, unique skill set, and just being able to see a lot of different angles that a lot of people just are not aware of.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing your experience and
Yeah.
your background. Now, we are going to go through the end of the year. So what do you have to share with us? How can we handle the rest of, there is 2 more months left. How can we handle this 2 months and then go on with a clear mindset for 2025? Just share with us.
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge, right? Q4, October, November, and December are always the hardest 3 months out of the year. And the reason is that it's the toughest quarter is because it has the most amount of distractions and the least amount of working days. So you've got holidays, you've got kids getting out of school, you've got, weather change, getting colder. And so, the banks are open the least amount of days during that time frame. And just so many different distractions. And it's really easy to get taken off course. And, our themes usually in the fourth quarter are something along the lines of finish strong, run through the finish line, separation season, creating a theme to never lose sight of this is really more of an opportunity because more agents are hitting the coast button right now, floating button instead of the gas button. Some have hit the brakes, right? Some just actually just put on the brakes, put it in park and are just sitting still. Some just put it in neutral and let it kind of coast. This is the time that, we double down. We go harder on our efforts. We go harder on, just more conversations, really looking for those that are still looking to do something between now and the end of the year and those that are looking to do something right at the beginning of the year. We're building the pipelines. And you think about keeping the wheel in motion. And if you're an agent that just lets it slowly starts coasting, it just takes so much more effort to get it back going into the new year. But think about if you're an agent that just puts it in park. Now the amount of energy and effort to get it back going. I mean, you might not get it back going until May, June, July of next year, and you've lost how many months? Real estate being a delayed gratification business, and especially here in the States over the last few years, you could actually have a conversation with somebody and be at the closing table 45 days later. We're back to what I grew up in, and what I only know is that if I have a conversation with you, best case scenario, I'm at the closing table with you in about 3 or 4 months. Could be 12 months or longer. So the return cycle, we call it the cash conversion cycle of the conversation. I think Patrick Bet David, calls it ITR, right? Investment time return, is that, the time I have a conversation with you, it's a period of time before it actually hits the bank account. And so I think just being of that mind that this is a delayed gratification business, and knowing that we're human beings, we need the daily hits, we need the daily wins, then that falls back into a lot of the Stoic philosophy of what is within my control, and really focused on, what am I committing to today that is within my control, that is going to move my business forward in the future. What am I doing today that I'm going to commit to? Meaning, no matter what happens in the realm of everything humanly possible, I will do today within my control that will move my business forward. That's just the singular mindset operation, just an operation of execution that we have to embody to be able to really build up the momentum that is as an opportunity for us moving into the end of the year and into 25. And when you look at real estate, Ashton, there's only a couple things that are really within your control that you need to be committed to doing on a daily basis. And you need to move your definition of winning down to, did I complete the things within my control to do, what is required for me to hit and accomplish my goals? And so it's lead gen, it's lead engagement, it's conversations, it's setting appointments. That's about it. Right? There's only a handful of things, 3 or 4 things that you can do on a daily basis. It's going to be around, generating opportunities. It's going to be around effort. It's going to be around, like the dials, the engagements, the conversations, the asking for the business, right? Making an offer, setting the appointments. That's about it within your control. And, how do you determine what those are? I think that's really comes down to the three things of productivity, but man, it has to start in the mind. That's the number one thing. And especially with a lot of distractions, and you probably have a lot of people tugging at you. You might have some influential people in your ear, people that you value their opinion, typically significant others that, might tell you to go do something else, or might tell you to, just take the time off. You got to be able to put up the blinders and kind of that, kind of barrier to where, you're not hearing noise that is not really supporting you. So I look at kind of right things, right order. It's got to be mindset first. It's got to be who you're putting around you. And then it's got to be, kind of working through key critical steps of productivity at that point. But, mindset is everything.
I agree. Thank you for sharing that. You properly said that using blinder. Now, The first thing we get into is we start, and that's the problem. We start listening and believing that, hey, it's Christmas, it's holidays, everything is slowed down. These are the lies. Everything is slowed down in terms of production. No one wants to sell or buy at this time. So these are the self-negative, well, I call it negative. It's not negative, but it's the self-talk because of what we see around us. Now, if we
Yeah.
can switch that one, let's imagine for month of November and December, we are actually in the month of May and June. Why our mindset then all of a sudden wake up, said, no, it is not November, December, it's May and June. So how our mind can play the game here and how our mind would fuel our action to take it to the next step. And that's critical. So personally, I think is for us not buying into this kind of mindset. Oh, everybody's slow down. All no agents working. No one's selling, buying. I did what I'm supposed to do. This number one. Number two, as you said, this thoughts of, okay, stop right now. Next 2 months, there's nothing happen. Then let's restart by January. As you said, our vehicle is slowing down and stops. Now, it needs more energy, more thoughts to restart, re-engage, and gain, start from January, February. By the time we start getting into the market full time in terms of operation, it's going to be somewhere March, April, maybe.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it really does. And I think from a mindset perspective, two things. You look at kind of the results equation, right? If you're not getting the results, there's a code and a sequence to anything, right? You just got to, just get the right combination, right things, right order. But if you start with the end in mind, which is results, what drives results? Well, our behavior, our habits, that's really what drives our results. So what drives that? The way we feel. And our feelings are really driven by our thoughts, right? And something we think for a period of time forms into our beliefs. And so if you're following the combination here, kind of reverse engineering, then what drives that, the way we think? Well, that's driven by circumstance and environment. That's why, who you allow into your circle is the most critical aspect of all, right? What are we being influenced by? What are we consuming? What are we putting into our mind? And who are we allowing to get into, our space, into our headspace? And Patrick Bet-David's book, I would say, Choose Your Enemies Wisely is probably one of the best business books in a long time. And I remember we did Agent to CEO in Cleveland last month, and Kinder was flying out, and he texted me on the plane, and he said, "Man, if you had to start all over, and rebuild, would you follow the blueprint in Beyond Entrepreneurship 2.0 from Jim Collins' book?" And I said, yes, except that I would say yes, undoubtedly I would, until Patrick Bet-David's book came out at the end of last year called Choose Your Enemies Wisely. And it is the best business building book, I believe. You can build an empire just off of that book. And the reason that book's so powerful is because he has the 12 building blocks, 6 on logic, 6 on emotion. And there's so much emotion that goes into everything that we do, right? That's the feeling component, which is right in the middle of the results equation, which is feelings. And I think you got to be aware of those feelings, and sometimes you got to block them out, and really focus on the action and doing the thing that will get the results. But there's a lot that leads up to it, and so you look at the thoughts. That's why mindset. That's why everything that we do and the way we think is so critical, because it dictates and changes the way we feel. But that is driven by circumstance. And I love the part on choose your enemy wisely, right? Because that's the emotional to the logical of the competitor, right? So you got an enemy and a competitor, and the enemy is the ignition. It's the fuel. It's the thing that when you don't want to get out of bed in the morning, that pillow feels really good. The blankets are warm. Whoever you're laying next to is like, man, I'm good. I'm going to stay right here. But we all need that ignition to keep us going when we don't want to go. And that's where, having a worthy enemy really comes in. But my favorite exercise out of that book, and it's the one that I always tell people to go to first, it's about on page 180, 181, 182. And it's the formula to create your inner circle. And there's a formula that Bet David gives that makes somebody worthy of being in your inner circle. And I went through it and I thought people were in my inner circle, but didn't qualify, right? Just off of the criteria to be able to do that. But when you can arm yourself with that tight knit circle that's going to inspire you, that's going to push you, that's going to be, when you reach out to them, they're going to take your call. And just go through, do that exercise and really identify who's in your circle and be intentional about, getting the highest quality individuals of character, of value that you can into that circle. And that's really where it'll start. The second thing there to really sharpen and protect our mind is to find the counterbalance of the renewal aspects that fall around the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual, right? That's kind of the four pillars of, personal, excellence, right? To be able to optimize our performance. And you look at, okay, well, we know we need to do things to keep our body strong, right? We've got to get in the gym. We've got to push some weight. And really make sure also, what's the diet, what's the nutrition side of things, super, super key to stay strong as we can. And the reason that this is important, Ashton, is because it's the oxygen mask concept, right? Like in the airplane, what do they tell you? Put your oxygen mask on first. If not, you're no good to the people around you, right? You don't want to go help. You need to do that. My favorite take on that is, Matthew McConaughey, right? He says, man, you got to be selfish before you can be selfless. And so you got to get yourself the best version of yourself, because like it or not, there's so many people depending upon us that are looking to us for guidance, for leadership, for direction. If you're a parent, those kids are looking at you every day. If you have team members, they're looking at you every day. You have family that's looking at you. So you have more eyeballs on you than what you think and believe. So you got to be the best version of you. Now we do the physical, then we got the emotional, which is going to be around really just doing the things like cardio really helps us, right? Think about it, right? When you're emotionally tapped out and you go for a walk, right? How you feel, you tapping back into nature, how that reduces the stress levels. And then mentally having some type of mindfulness practice, either be silence, be prayer, be it whatever the case is. That's super, super key, super important to be able to have to really keep us sharp mentally. Like, what are we consuming? What are we reading? What conversations are we having? And then the last, which, being stronger physically gives us more energy, but the one that really matters the most is from the spiritual side of things, right? Not religion, but in alignment to your values. Really know what your values are, and living in alignment to that, right? That's just where we become the best versions of ourselves, and indoctrinating, those things into our daily routine, into our daily habit. For people that struggle with it, I was like, just go read The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Go read The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod and adopt his savers, what he talks about, his savers, right? So savers stands for, silence. So that helps with the mindfulness practice, that helps with prayer, that, whatever that is for you. Could be full on meditation, could be just whatever. And then A is affirmations, because it's so important, the language that we speak, the things that we say, right? Like you were saying, nobody's selling houses. I'm just gonna coast in. Well, if you say that long enough, you're going to hear what you say, and it's going to creep in the back of your mind. Now that tape recorder is playing in the back of your mind, man. Hey, man, there's no reason to get up today. There's no houses selling, which is not true. It's not true. Homes are selling. Go look at the MLS. How many homes sold in the month of October? How many homes came on the home in the month of October? Like, homes sell. Homes will never not sell. They will keep selling. So the affirmations, we got to be real careful of what we're saying. And then V is visualization, right? That's true desire. And for a lot of people that fall into the circular world, that stop moving in a known direction, is that they lose sight of the desires that really that they want. And for most people, Ashton, when you move out of that status and you're moving into freedom and thinking for the other levels and the things that are truly important in our life, um, it comes down to experiences. It comes down to relationships. It comes down to things that we want to have. But like, we can never lose sight of our desires, and that's why vision boards, as cheesy or whatever you may want to think, vision boards are absolutely critical, because it's you may want, a purple G-Wagon, right? And think about it, like, man, I've never seen a purple G-Wagon. Well, guess what? Probably over the next couple months, you'll see a purple G-Wagon, just because now it's there, right? It's the reticular activator has fired, and you're going to start seeing things that are right there, but we can't see them because they're not, something that we're looking for. So visualization. E is the exercise. So we talked about that, the physical. That's the physical. That's lifting heavy things. That's, cardio. That is, nutrition. That is eating right, staying hydrated, getting enough steps in, moving our body, drinking enough water, doing the things that we really need to do to make our bodies the best that they can. R is reading. So adopting some type of reading practice, either, the 75 hard of 10 pages a day, or, consuming something of value, either physically reading or listening. I do a lot more listening than physical reading. And just make sure you're listening and you're consuming things that are helping you solve the challenges that you have in your life. And then the final S of savers is scribing, right? It's journaling. It's like getting all of the stuff out of your dang head. Um, I think, the one that I like to adopt in there, and you can either put it in on the silent side of things, or you can put it in the scribing side of things, is the gratitude practice. I think that's one of the most important, aspects for all of us, because we all have so much to be grateful for. And typically, as we're driving and we're trying to accomplish something, we tend to focus on, what we don't have or where we're not at, than really how far we've come. And that's the whole gap in the gain concept from, Dan Sullivan. Really look at the progress we've made, and never lose sight of all the things that we have to be grateful for in this life, and really adopting that. But those things right there, just adopting the savers, doing those things with the gratitude practice, will sharpen your mind, to be able to withstand any type of endeavor or navigate any type of waters that are ahead. And I think it's just also a reminder that everything's a season. And one of the slides that I've been sharing on all of my presentations this year is the picture of the American bison. We all seen it. It floated around all over social media at the beginning of the year, but it was, the American bison in the middle of a snowstorm that's just covered in snow. And, the American bison is the only animal that turns and faces the storm. And that's just a great reminder for us, is that, you know, we're all either in the middle of a storm right now. Everybody has their shit. Everybody has things that we have to deal with. It's layers deeper in all aspects of our life, but we have to turn and face it, right? It's the whole obstacle is the way, the impediment in the way becomes the way. And we have to turn and face it, because if we can't turn, we can't run, we can't just stand still, because guess what? That storm is just going to be waiting for us. And so the best thing for us to do is to just turn and head through it, because we will get through it faster. So like I said, we're either in a storm or we just got out of a storm, or I promise you a storm's coming. And, I think that's just knowing that it's a season. It's just everybody's, going through a season. It's never going to be sunshine and rainbows all the time. We want to take advantage of it and enjoy it while it is, but also know, hard times come and hard times go. And so from a mindset perspective, having a foundation of habits to be able to latch onto, continue to make us, sharp and better than, we were yesterday. And it's, to me, is the most critical. Building that sharp mind, having a great mindset, a positive mindset, a grateful mindset, but then also, building a circle around you that will help you stay sharp, will hold you accountable, that will continue to push you each and every day. And, I think those are the two critical elements that have to be in place no matter what. If you're a brand new agent, I mean, just a human being in general, you got to have those two elements before we can even think about what it is that we want to accomplish.
Thank you for all these golden nuggets. The floor is open for anyone who wants to ask questions. Now, one of the things I didn't expect John to share here is, instead of saying, okay, every day go knock at doors, 40 homes, and, grab your paper, write down, record everything you do, grab the phone, call your past clients, is cool. John shared with us that the first thing you have to do is to associate with the strong circle of influence. Go find great people, great achievement. It doesn't necessarily, well, you can get this from just inspiring people around you. And then energize yourself, work on your mind, work on your goals, your big why. Then you can get into the production. So if you don't have the first engine, which is your mind and your mindset, and energizing yourself, trying to go on production with just a like 10 minutes motivational speech doesn't take you for long. You're going to stop. So what I got from John here is work on your mind and make sure you have a strong source that would always nourish you and put fuel in your behavior and your mind before you want to climb up the mountain. You see the pictures behind me?
I do.
No one can climb up to the top if the mind is not ready. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter how much muscles you have and how
Yeah.
much training you have. If your mind give up on the first step, then guarantee you cannot go up there.
Yeah.
Same thing for real estate. So working on your mind, working on your people that are circling you. Imagine you go to a place, an office that everybody do only rental. No one ever likes to do buy and sells. Guess what? In a few months after, you become another one of them. You're
Mhm.
renting all the time. So associate with the strong-minded people is crucial. Anyone has any question? If I tell you John's fee per hour is $2,000, would you ask a question? Have him here.
It's common to just get kind of radio silence because it gets the wheels turning, right? If somebody's listening in and they're really engaged, they're digging deep, right? Starts I'm falling short here, this is where I need to improve. But a lot of agents just aren't even problem aware. So being able to, create some level of awareness, because then once we have awareness, then now we have a choice. We can do something about it or not. And, I think that's, the first step is the level of, just being aware.
I asked you a quick question since I got you here for free rather than paying you a few $1,000s. What should change between an agent that is struggling to get 5 deals per year versus an agent that is aiming for 300 deals per year? What should be changed in a practical way and in the shortest period of time?
Yeah. I think, I mean, it all comes down to, it's a little bit different game, right? But you look at any kind of through the how, right? Once we know what it is we're trying to do, then it's, how we're going to do it. There's also, the who factor in there. And when you get up, north of, and even the person trying to do 5 deals versus 300 deals, there's still the component of the who factor, right? That's typically where the biggest constraint. That's why the inner circle is so important. What I would tell somebody trying to do 5 deals, I would be like, get on a team that you align with your values, that you believe in what they're doing. They're providing training support. They're probably going to provide you some opportunities. And you're like, well, I want to do 5 deals because the math works out to this. They're like, great. Get on a team, do 10 deals. You're going to learn so much more. You're going to get more reps. 5 deals a year doesn't give you enough reps to really truly be a professional in this industry. And in my opinion, if you want to do 5 deals, you're interested and you're not committed. And ultimately, you're not obsessed. And that's really 3 types of character types. And I think from an agent that's just interested, you're going to have a hard time finding your place in this industry as we move into the future. You have to then become committed to then find what part of this business that you can become obsessed about. Become obsessed as a marketer, become obsessed as a salesperson, become obsessed as a negotiator, become obsessed as a leader. And typically that person getting to 300, they've got to be obsessed with marketing and leadership. The person doing 5 deals, to me, when I hear that, they're only interested. And I would challenge them, what is it going to take for you to become committed? And I would then challenge you, you're not getting enough reps to develop anything worth a trait that is going to help you propel yourself into the future. So go get on a team, because most teams are going to provide support, meaning they're going to take a lot of the fulfillment, the paperwork, side of things off of your plate, navigating all the other characters that are involved in the real estate transaction, and can just allow you to focus on sales and marketing, where you make money. You don't make money servicing the deal. You make money going getting the deal. And so that's what I would tell somebody. I would, have a hard look in the mirror and be like, am I interested, or am I really going to be committed to this thing? And if I'm going to be committed, I need to go get on a team and do 12 deals a year, one a month. Am I going to make, could you argue doing 5 deals on your own, trying to figure it out, do all of that, straight headache, stress? You're just going to get a greater return on your time and, your investment of your time, and the investment of the commission split that you're on to the team. You have to look at it as an investment. And what am I getting in return? And when you're around great people, great culture, great leadership, great support, it's well worth that investment. Because if you look at the person doing, 30, 300 deals, that's leading the team, if that person's not in production, I promise you, agents on his team are making more than that person is actually making running that team. It's just how the math actually flows. So that's the thing that I would challenge everybody, Ashton, is like, man, if you're just interested, you might go find something else that you can commit to and ultimately become obsessed about. Because I promise you, the person doing 300 deals, they're obsessed about something. They're obsessed about leadership. They're obsessed about marketing. They're obsessed about building a team that's going to help uncover investment opportunities for that they can start to build, real wealth for them and their family. And just getting out of, a cash flow, or just getting out of a status that they're chasing, and they're ultimately chasing freedom, which is ultimately how we all have to look at the vehicle of real estate in real estate sales. It's just a vehicle. And how are you using that vehicle, and where is it getting you? Where are you trying to go? And for me, if you're not utilizing this vehicle to get you to freedom, then what are you doing? Right? What are you doing? And you may be like, well, I just want to sell, just a handful of houses to, make ends meet, provide a great holiday season for my kids, be able to go on a great vacation. Fantastic. Then go get on a team and do the same thing. Because you trying to do it all, you're just not getting enough reps to really, do yourself, a good service, and do your clients a great service, and being able to help them with arguably, for most, the largest financial transactions of their life.
Amazing. That's very, very true. If no one has any question, John, I want you to tell us how we can get hold of you. If you are offering any coaching on the side, share with us.
Yeah. So, we're working on some cool stuff, some AI stuff. I'll be excited, hopefully be able to roll out pretty soon. But, we have Agent to CEO, which is, just a mastermind. We meet every Thursday. In fact, right after this call, live mastermind call. John Harp, who runs the Columbus House team in Columbus, Ohio. They're one of the top teams in the state of Ohio for EXP. Joe Perso, who I've personally coached for the last decade. He formerly COO at Sphere Rocket, $5, $6, $7 million company this year in revenue. But, I've been coaching Joel since he was a TC, and then he ends up coming, being a partner and an owner of that company. And then he went on to work with a company that got acquired by Zillow. There were a couple of buddies of his that he came in on the operational side of things. And then the last couple of years, he's been COO at Sphere Rocket. And so he's one of the smartest humans I know. I take notes every time I get on a call with him, and I've been coaching him for a decade. So, he's on the mastermind call, the three of us, and, we talk about current topics, things to think about in your business, but really open it up for questions and things that you have. So we have that. We have, Agent to CEO Mastermind. Obviously, you get access to all the recordings, library, everything. And then,
How
we have a
can
couple
you
other,
share how we can listen to that mastermind? Like, can we?
Yep, you can go to agent2ceo.com. All the information and everything's there. But that's one way. We put out a ton of content, Ashton. The podcast, you can go to YouTube channel. You can go to John Kitchen's coachpodcast.com and subscribe to the podcast. I mean, there's 700-800 episodes on there, and we add 2 to 3 episodes every week. So just a lot of content, things to be able there to navigate and consume. But ultimately, if you want to, maybe go a little bit deeper, jump on, book a call.
John, is there any phone number or any number anyone can reach out to you and talk
Yeah, I
to
mean,
you?
you can DM me. I mean, that's the easiest thing. Just shoot me a message, Facebook or Instagram. Myself or the team will see it, and we'll get you on a link, get you scheduled a call, and we can rock and roll from there.
And what is your site again?
You can go to johnkitchens.coach is the website. I mean, if you want to look at really what Agent to CEO, you can go to agent2ceo.com. But all over social media at John Kitchens Coach is the handle on all social media.
Okay, John Kitchen Coach. Great, thank you. It was a great time we had here, John. We learned a lot from you. It's just a matter of make sure we allow this information to sink into our mind and put that one in action.
Yeah, it is a lot, right, Ashton? So I would just challenge everybody, really, what are you doing to become the best version of yourself? What does that look like? But you get into the productivity side of things, you got to get real clear where you want to go. And I think, thinking about really the next 2 months are really setting up 25. Our actions and our behaviors right now will carry over into 2025 production. So you got to get real clear. Make sure you guys are clear, not only 25, but beyond. I've got all of our clients. We're having fun with it. Where do you want to be by the end of the decade, which is 5 years? So what's the next 5 years look like for you? We're on the catamaran, December 31st, 2029. What's happened, right? What have we accomplished? What are we celebrating? And, that's the end of the decade. It's fun to say, we've done X, Y, and Z. We will do X, Y, and Z. We'll scale the top of that mountain by the end of the decade. And so know where you want to go, know what, it's going to take into action. So if you want to accomplish 300 transactions, reverse engineer what that's going to take for that to be true. And it's essentially like if you want to write a book. So you put the book into words. So if I want to write a book, well, how many words do I need to write a day? No matter what, I do it every day. And I think that's the middle step. And then the last step is, when are those activities going to happen? And they need to get in the calendar. I think you got to adopt the mindset. If it doesn't make the calendar, it doesn't happen. We all have the best of intent, but if it doesn't carry over and into the calendar, it will never happen. If it does not make the calendar, it will not happen. But we got to make sure we got the right things in the calendar, and then we just execute from there.
Great. Looking forward to have you in 2025. You have to give us at least 1 or 2 sessions. We really enjoy and take advantage. We should take advantage of all your knowledge. Spending what is that, 17,000 hours with your conversion with coaching. That is a gold mine. I appreciate your time, and thank you
Got it, bud.
again for
Thanks,
joining
Ashton.
us. And
Thanks,
all
guys. We'll see
take
you.
care. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.